Disclaimer.
People who don't reply until days later, why? Some days I don't feel like talking to people. Definitely. Don't get me wrong, I love cell phones for a lot of reasons. Safety alone make them pretty fantastic. Like with getting lost or needing help if something goes wrong. At the same time, I'm tired of living in a world where I am expected to be reachable at any time, and if I'm not, people can get upset or feel offended. I promise that's not my intent. I'll get back to you, but I also sometimes just want to be doing my thing without distractions or obligations. The world before cell phones had a different pace that I kind of miss. There wasn't this expectation of immediacy in communication which nowadays creates anxiety. There's something to be said about how technology and our desire for instant gratification have amplified our anxiety as people. Sometimes it's nice to unplug. You set that expectation by responding immediately. Don't do it. Set the expectation that you respond to texts when you're available and that it sometimes takes a day or two. Task switching means I often disembark in the middle of conversations. People know to expect it. It's totally fine. Also, chat is meant to be polite. In my mind, it implies answer when you feel like it. Phone calls are the opposite. They say stop what you're doing right now and talk to me. I feel like a similar effect is created with people worrying about bothering people that doesn't go away, even if I try to set the expectation. People are so glued to and reactive to their phones that messaging people is usually instantaneous and intrusive into whatever the person is doing. Even if I set the expectation I may not answer, people still think messaging is interrupting. I leave my phone with notifications silent almost 24/7 because I don't like being interrupted from what I'm doing and would prefer to look at my phone between other tasks. Yes, this sets the expectation with people that I won't answer immediately unless they call. But they also apologize for messaging me at weird hours or avoid messaging me because they don't want to bother me. Like, friends won't message me during the workday or late at night. Work people won't message me after my work hours. And if they do, they apologize about it. For example, if I'm out to dinner with my wife, and she goes to the bathroom and I respond to a message or two and mention we went out to eat, people are like, OMG, I didn't mean to interrupt your dinner. Sorry. I also work in a different time zone from some coworkers, and when they realize they've messaged me after 5 p.m. my time, they always apologize. I don't care if you message me. It's on me to set my phone appropriately so I am interrupted or not interrupted based on what I am doing. You can't possibly always know what I'm doing, so it's not your responsibility. And the apologies I get about it, especially from people who know I don't always answer because I don't like interruption, are more annoying than the message itself. And it's to the point where I start questioning my own messages back to people. I start worrying I'm interrupting their activities since they seem to think they're interrupting mine. Sometimes I'll think of something I want to tell someone at 10 p.m. or glance through notifications on my way to bed, but I'm afraid to bother people because they may not silence their notifications in bed, etc. So I don't. And then I forget the next day. I wish everyone would just take responsibility for their own phone usage and trust everyone else to do the same. I don't have the energy. Also, it's great for avoiding getting into a whole back and forth text conversation that never fucking ends. Usually if I wait a while between responses, the main/important points still come through, but it doesn't become some long stupid text conversation. I don't want to be texting with you for half an hour straight. I also really don't want to talk on the phone, so I don't want to give the impression I'm available and sitting on my phone when you text me. Talking in person is how I prefer to talk. Texting is mostly a way to facilitate meeting up. If the person is too far away to meet up, we text in advance to set a specific time to talk on the phone or FaceTime. Edited to add, the only exception to all this is my spouse. Even with living together and seeing each other every day, it's not draining or irritating to me to text back and forth with him. Probably why he's my spouse. When I was in my early 20s, my boyfriend at the time tried to explain that he didn't want to have a continuous, ongoing text conversation all day, every day. Being quite immature with no self-esteem, I took it poorly and felt very rejected and upset. I'd also do that thing where I didn't want to double text, so I'd wait for him to finally say something, and then unload everything I was holding back since the last time. That guy put up with a lot. Sorry for being so obnoxious, Justin. Now, I'm the one having that talk with people, and fiercely protecting my solitude. I'm on this train, it's actually a recent devolution for me. I recently went to Egypt for 2 weeks. While I was there, I literally had no internet. Taking those 2 weeks really made me realize how much better I felt just replied when I could rather than instantly. I also realized this with some people I work with, they'd text me during non-working hours about work. I just reply during working times. So text me at 6 p.m. on a Friday, I'd reply at 9 a.m. Monday. I was on my second honeymoon, and my boss wouldn't quit texting me. I made the mistake of responding once when it was convenient, and it opened the floodgates that day. After multiple apologies from him, along with promises to let you get back to your vacation, LOL, he started in the next day. I didn't respond. I didn't even open the texts, so if he had the red receipts on his messages, he wouldn't be able to tell I'd even seen them. He tried to call, and I just let it ring, phone was on silent. We got back to our hotel at like 9 p.m., and I see he's sent me roughly 20 plus texts in addition to 3 missed calls. At this point, I do check them, and he's getting more and more upset that I haven't responded. So I simply send a text back and I'm like, sorry, left the phone at the hotel. I guess you figured everything out though. And he immediately texts back about how I need to keep my phone on me. And I was like, I'm on vacation. That's not gonna happen. I got lectured about not being a team player, but when I said, well, if you want to pay me for being on call, I'm sure we can work something out, he suddenly changed his tune. I hate getting texts that read, hey, I have a favor to ask you. Like, just open your initial text with what the favor is. I'm more likely to respond to you right away. Otherwise, I'm apt to ignore it until you text me with what the actual favor is. I don't want to reply right away with, okay, go ahead and ask, they ask, and then expect an immediate answer to if I will do said favor or not. Whereas, if they open with what the favor is, I can have a second to contemplate if I want to do it, and then reply back in due time. Yeah, I have anxiety problems as is, and can go years not responding to phone calls. There's no reason in the world that phone calls, text messages and emails should show up demanding my attention while I'm on the loo playing Tetris. I hate being surprised with social demands when I'm not prepared for them. I hate to admit it, but stupid anxiety made me ghost a formerly good friend. They had pressured me for a reply on something I was having trouble responding to, and I panicked and fell into a hole of crippling silence. And of course, as time dragged on, I got more and more embarrassed, until I was down so deep, I felt there was no way I could ever reply, even to ask for an apology. It feels like a lame, pitiful excuse, but there it is. I just wanted to respond and tell you that if that person was actually a good friend, they would be happy to hear from you, not mad. Personal anecdote below. A close friend of mine essentially stopped responding just before the start of this year. They would always take long mental health breaks away from social media/communications, which I was totally fine with, but this current one is by far the longest, and I had to stop my normal routine of checking in every few weeks just to make sure they were alright, just because it felt needy. We're not always trying to be needy though, I actually do just want to know if my friend is okay after they've fallen off the face of the earth. I take it I'm doing great, but we aren't compatible as friends anymore over never knowing what happened. Some of us just care about our friends. I would never expect an apology or want you to feel bad, but I would always be happy to get a text from a friend. I hope that even if things don't work out between you and your old friend that you forgive yourself, because they've likely already forgiven you. Ironically, it's because I often try to be thoughtful in my responses. Sometimes I will read a message and I won't have the will or time to give it the thought or depth that it requires, so I'll put it off to when I can really think about it. Oftentimes it slips my mind because my working memory is kind of trash. For me it's more of oh my god, what am I supposed to say? Shit, I'm taking too long to reply, they're going to think I'm being an ass. Wait, maybe if I don't say anything right now, wait 30 minutes, then say that I was doing something and everything will be okay. Then I'll spend the next half hour writing messages and deleting them because I don't want to sound like I'm being rude. After, my brain will convince me in 30 minutes that I waited too long and I'm a piece of shit for not immediately responding and I don't deserve friends. Executive dysfunction. To add to this, as someone that experiences executive dysfunction, I'm ADHDPI, it takes all my energy to focus on my desk job every day at work. Trying to context switch and respond to texts during the day is overwhelming and makes getting work done really hard too. Then when I finally feel I have the brain space to check my messages, I have 30 notifications. 5 are texts from automated robots that I wish I could block. 3 might be important texts. 5 are Snapchats from my close group of friends. 5 are Instagram messages that some close friends thought were funny. 3 are notifications that my Amazon packages have shipped. A couple are banking alerts for a transaction over a certain size. And the rest are notifications I could have sworn I cleared and they came back somehow. And yes, I have gone through every app and turned off notifications that I don't use. My wife helps me do this regularly. Modern smartphones are just an overwhelming thing sometimes. It's not always one text that's hard to respond to in a vacuum, it's that my phone is blowing up and it's so much effort to even get started catching up on all of that. I don't have the mental capacity to reply right now. I'm having a stressful day, I'm trying to meet a deadline, I'm upset over something etc. and my brain is too busy and muddled to reply. Sometimes I'm also just drained and don't have the energy, even if it's just something simple, like responding to a meme. I'm drained and my brain is mush, I can't muster up the energy. If I don't reply for a while, it typically means I'm somewhere in my feels. I was wondering about this, the way the question is phrased really rubbed me the wrong way. People have lives. Not everyone is actually immediately available 24/7. I work, I have a husband, I have friends, I'm in a theater group, I like to read and watch TV, I cook, I have to clean my flat, I like to go out and about sometimes, I sleep. I'm not just sitting here, staring at my phone and ready to drop everything and text you back as soon as you get in touch, all day and night. If you are here for the first time and you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to support me and hit the bell so you don't miss new videos. You can also watch other videos by going to the channel. I will be pleased if you like them.